We are gonna make a sherry wine cheese ball because nothing says holiday party like a cheese ball.
So we're gonna be using a couple different ingredients to make our cheese ball, and this is really perfect for the holidays, really perfect to bring to a party. No one will know it's vegan. You don't even need to tell them. Just bring it in, and when you eat it, maybe they'll know.
It's delicious. It has a lot of complex flavors, and we chose to do this recipe for the holidays because it pairs really well with wine. We're gonna start by adding in some cashews. So a lot of vegan cheeses are based with cashews. These are actually just the untoasted cashews that you can use. So we'll put those in our Vitamix blender. We're gonna make the whole thing in the Viti. And then the other ingredient that we're gonna use is a smoked hickory cheddar spread from Spork Foods, and it has a very smoky flavor. If you can't find this, you can use a vegan cream cheese and sub in a natural liquid smoke or some smoked salt, which is really, really delicious. So
this is gluten-free. It's made mostly of oats, actually, so it's soy-free and gluten-free. So if that's something that you think about, that's great.
Yeah, and you only need 2 tablespoons of the smoked cheddar spread or cream cheese if you're using it, and if you're using liquid smoke, only half a teaspoon if you're gonna go ahead and use that. And then we're gonna also use a little bit of Earthy Bee, Earth Balance margarine. This adds a little body to this. You do need it for texture. It wouldn't be a sherry wine cheese ball without a little sherry.
We're using Harvey's Bristol cream. It's called Bristol cream, not because there's cream in it. It's called that because of the flavor and the texture.
It's often a dessert sherry, so you can even combine that with some ice, a little bit of soy milk or almond milk, and it's just delicious after
really
dinner.
Good.
So we're gonna put in our 2 tablespoons of sherry and our teaspoon, just a little baby teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. This is the Wizards brand.
So this is the sherry and the Worcester, or Worcester, however you want to say it.
You do need to add a little bit of sea salt and some garlic powder just for a touch of that salty taste.
So we're gonna turn on our Vitamix blender. If you think that your cheese is a little bit too liquidy, then add in a little bit more cashews. On the other side, if you think that it's a little too dry, just give a little more shot of this. No big deal, no one's gonna complain.
And this is really thick, so you need the tamper or something to stir it around, and you might have to process it for a good, few minutes in a food processor if you're using that.
Right, if you don't have a Vitamix blender. And we're just gonna turn it on.
Okay. So in a food processor, this would take about 3 minutes, but in the Vitamix, it only takes, 30 seconds or so. And then once you process it all together, you get this mixture that's really smooth and really thick. You don't want this to be too runny, or else, it won't be like a cheese. We're gonna actually transfer this to some walnuts that we've crushed up. And then we're gonna be rolling it in the walnuts and then wrapping it in plastic wrap to let it firm up a little while. But we need to add some pepper to that.
Yeah, we're just adding pepper for a little bit of flavor, not a lot, just a little tiny bit. Move that around a little. We bought raw walnuts and we toasted them ourselves. And then you can either chop them up by hand or put them in the food processor, pulse them a couple times, and then you'll get this mixture here.
So I'm gonna just get this out of here with the spatula. And you can put your walnuts in a shallow dish or in a bowl. So you add it in a good kind of mound in the center. And it doesn't look firm yet because it needs a little time to set up in the refrigerator. Okay. And it smells really smoky because of that hickory spread in there. So don't be afraid to go to town with the smoky flavors. Okay, so then what we need to do is just kind of coat this in our walnuts. So you just want to kind of get those all over.
And keep it intact as much as you possibly can.
And then we'll wrap this in a little bit of plastic wrap and then refrigerate it. Okay?
And you really do need that refrigeration time for this to set up properly.
So you're just gonna kind of go for it. Don't be scared if you get extra walnuts all over the place. You can incorporate those later. I wanna make sure that all of this is coated in the walnuts, or else it makes it a little bit more difficult to form. So then you have your little cheese ball here. And even if you don't have time to refrigerate this, you can see that it already keeps its shape. It's not supposed to be a firm cheese, so it's just supposed to be a soft little appetizer cheese. So we're just gonna fold this up and refrigerate it for a little bit. And then we're gonna place it in the center of a platter with some crudité, some crackers.
Yeah, and so when you wanna refrigerate this for at least 20 minutes. If you have an hour, great, that would be even better. So we're just gonna put this in the fridge and we're gonna talk about the wine that we're actually gonna pair it up with. This bottle is La Clarine Farm, and this actually comes from the Sierra Nevada foothills in California. It's got a really beautiful, refreshing flavor. It has hints of anise, some peach, some apple, and it pairs really well with our cheese ball because it doesn't overpower it. So we want something very subtle and very light to pair with that. And this bottle is about $20. You can get it at laclarinefarm.com, and they're very eco-friendly, so it comes with this beautiful glass top instead of a cork, which we love. They don't use any fertilizers or anything. This is actually a biodynamic bottle, so they're not using pesticides or fertilizers or anything that we wouldn't want in our bodies, which is really beautiful and actually very rare to find. So we think that, you know, if you're going through all this trouble to make this beautiful dish, you may as well pair it with a really beautiful bottle of wine.
So we'll grab our sherry wine cheese ball from the fridge, see if it's firmed up enough, and then we can go ahead and plate it. We have some crackers here, and we have some carrot and celery sticks, so we'll place that right in the middle. So we just have our cheese ball that's been refrigerating, and then we can just go ahead and transfer it to our platter cutting board. It's not gonna be super hard because it's a soft cheese, so you just wanna get it to a nice consistency, and then you can serve it with crackers, you can serve it with carrot sticks or celery or whatever veggies you want.
So we have our wine, we have our cheese.
Thank you.
And you know, the flavors really complement each other, so we're gonna just cheers.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
She goes for the bite first, I go for the wine first.